Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Been a minute since I did a video, but I wanted to do a video on this topic. I thought it was pretty important. So I'm going to talk about the cancellation of de minimis and like the impact it's going to have on Canadian eBay sellers. So just a quick disclaimer, everything I say in this video is just my opinion based on my experience, and do your own research. Don't just take what I say as factual. Do your own research. Everyone's situation is different. Mine is gonna be different from yours. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind watching this video. So first thing, what is de minimis? Basically, it's a trade agreement, Canada, US. Anything under 800 USD is exempt from duties and taxes, and it's been like this for quite a while. I can't really remember how long it's been like this, but been quite a while. So Trump, he's basically end of the month, he wants to cancel that, and then everything would be subject to a duty. Everything you send to the States would be subject to a duty, and right now I think that's at 35%. So big. That's a big tariff. It's definitely gonna have a huge impact. Now, why is he doing this? I think there's a couple of reasons. I think maybe as leverage in negotiation, that could be one. And another one too, I think, is just he thinks that U.S. is being taken advantage of. Because Canada, we have basically free access to the U.S. market, and you don't have to pay anything to access all these customers, right? Which I think he has a good point on. We have a good deal, being able to sell to the States for basically free and having access to that market basically for free. So I understand where he's coming from there and wanting us to have to pay to have access to those customers, right? The only thing I disagree with is the amount. The tariff amount at 35% is crazy high. That's basically just going to stop trade. I think more reasonable would be like 10%. I think that's like more of like a reasonable number to pay to have access to the U.S. market. But Trump, who knows? Who really knows what he's thinking? That's why I haven't really done much videos on the tariff stuff, because it's changing all the time. So you never really know, what's going on. But this for sure is going to come into effect. It's going to be canceled by the end of the month, and then it's up to Trump, I guess, whether he's going to enforce it or not. So that's another thing too. Who knows how difficult this is to enforce. It might not be enforced, right? It might just be something to give him leverage in negotiations. So that's another thing to think about as well. So my shipping company, Chit Chats, I'll speak about what they have told me and what I've learned from them about what's going to happen. I can't really speak on any other shipping companies. I'm not really sure, but they're saying that there are going to be basically two options. The option that I've been using, that most people I think use, is they just purchase the USPS labels from Chit Chats, and and then send their packages off like that. You just have to fill out country of origin and HST or HTS codes. So after August, you're gonna have to put in manufacturer information. So I'm not really sure what that is. And this is what the USPS services, and then you're gonna have to pay. The duty for whatever category you're in. So I think there's some, different percentages depending on what category it is. I don't know 100% what they are, but I'm just gonna assume it's gonna be like 35% for most things, right? So you would have to pay that on top of the regular postage. So 35% increase on your shipping. So super high. So there's that. And then the second option is buying a label through Chit Chats, and then buying a Canada Post label service. I've used a little bit, and that basically, that service would charge the customer the duties. So you wouldn't pay the duties, the customer would pay the duties. So that's probably the option that I'm gonna use moving forward with Chit Chats. And I'm just gonna hope that, you know, they're not gonna be implementing the duties. But, you know, obviously it's a risk. You know, I don't recommend doing that, but that's probably what I'm gonna do. And I'm just gonna, you know, sell items on eBay that are maybe between $20 and $50. I'm not gonna sell, you know, super expensive stuff just because, you know, it's risky with, you know, there could be returns. Customers could, you know, refuse the item because they don't want to pay the duty. So I'll probably stick to, you know, $20 to $50 items. And then in my listings, I'm gonna say, you know, these items might be subject to 35% duties. So at least the customer knows that they could be charged. And then hopefully they're not, but we'll have to see how it goes. So that's kind of like my plan with shipping, selling on eBay, shipping to the States. And if that doesn't work, if there's too much issues with that, then I'd probably just have to stop shipping to the States, which, you know, just pretty much gonna close my business down, my eBay business at least, because, you know, 90% of my customers, you know, are in the States. So that's kind of like what's happening with, you know, with Chit Chats, and then, like, you know, shipping to the States. Now, what I have been doing recently is I've been pivoting my business quite a bit to Facebook Marketplace. So I've been listing a lot there. A lot of my clothing that I've been finding in storage units that, you know, I'm basically getting free. I've just been selling stuff cheap, you know, $5, $10, $20 items. And I've been selling a good amount of stuff. So that might be an option for you if you're in a bigger city and there's a lot of, you know, people that use Facebook Marketplace. That might be a good way to, you know, kind of shift your business to avoid, you know, the problems with shipping to the States. So those two things, you know, that Canada Post service with Chit Chats, and then pivoting my business more to Facebook. I might even just do everything on Facebook, you know, moving forward. So those two things, that's what I'm gonna do. So if you can, you know, if that's the option for you, maybe, you know, look into doing that. But other than that, you know, there's not much else you can do, you know, with what's happening. I'm hoping that, you know, that Trump, he cancels this de minimis, but he doesn't enforce it. That's what I'm hoping. But, you know, who knows what's gonna happen, right? But the only thing you can really do is try to prepare now, you know, for it happening, and then just try and stay positive. Maybe it doesn't get implemented, you know. So there's that, and then, you know, you're worrying for no reason, right? So just try to stay positive, try to plan, try to prepare, try to pivot your business. Maybe right now is a good time to also just think about, if you're all in on eBay, maybe, you know, pivoting, you know, to another platform. Try a different platform. Don't rely just solely on eBay, because, you know, these things can happen, especially, you know, with Trump. You never know what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's the video. That's an update. Let me know in the comments, you know, what you're planning on doing with your business. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.